You passed the hearing test?
Here's something. Oh yeah, it's gone. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to my channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. I just want to give a huge shout out, man, to all my seekers who's coming back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man, commenting down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button on each and every single video drop. You guys are helping growing the community. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Stay with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Humans were never meant to see. Now you're probably wondering, what is this? Well, it's actually a cat's tongue under a microscope. Now this is gonna gross you out, but this is what gummy bears look like when they're getting made. Here's the before and after. I'll never see a gummy bear the same again. And you were today years old when you found out this one. You know those long, thick lighters? Well, inside of it is actually just a tiny lighter. And these two photos were taken in the exact same spot, but they're actually just 100 years apart. And this is what a human heart looks like with no blood in it.
Mental illness, when the sufferer believes that they're already dead, putrefying, or missing body parts such as a brain or internal organs.
Creepy info.
Skinwalker disguised as a horse.
That horse looked like it was on something.
Around the world. The Luna Park Ghost Train Fire, located in Milsons Point, Australia. Here's the story. On June 9th, 1979, a devastating fire broke out at Luna Park. Said to be an electrical fault, and 7 lives were lost. Here's where it gets weird. This is the last photo of Damien Godson. Him, his father, and his brother all died in the fire. This strange man approached them hours before the fire. He placed his hand on the little boy's head and the photo was taken. To this day, nobody knows who that is and why he was there. Legend says he was dressed up as the god Moloch, who asked for children to be sacrificed by fire. What do you think, foreshadowing or just a weird coincidence? Which country is next?
I think that was some foreshadowing right there, man. That's why when people play those freaking Ouija board games, I'd be like, no, I'm good. I don't even want to invite that type of energy into my life because I truly really don't got time for that. But what do you guys think? Coincidence or something else, man? We expert level. We know what this is.
How long can animals survive without food? Wood frog. 7.5 months. Skunk. 7.5 months. Arctic fox.
7 months.
8 months. Seal. 8 months.
Really?
Walrus.
8.
9 months. Tortoise. 10 months. Scorpion. 1 year. Ohm. 10 years.
Damn, a whole decade?
Tardigrade. 30 years.
Here are some facts about the world that you probably didn't know. Walmart released their data last year on what people stock up on the most before a hurricane, and the answer was strawberry Pop-Tarts and beer. Not only has it been more than 50 years since the last person walked on the moon, the entire time period where we were walking on the moon was only 3.5 years. Antimatter is the most expensive substance on Earth, costing $62 trillion per gram. In the 1940s, there used to be a male-only penthouse at Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, including a rooftop patio where they would sunbathe, but they had to stop that from happening because they found out that nuns across the street were watching them. The highest revenue Panda Express location in the entire world is in a mall food court in Hawaii. Animals yawn based on how big their brain is, so the longer they yawn, the bigger the brain. British Airways offers a Flying with Confidence course that has a 98% success rate on helping people get over their fear of flying.
Morbid Facts,
Goddamn.
Part 532. Cult leader Amy Carlson, aka Mother God, convinced her followers that she was God, a 19 billion-year-old being, and that she could heal people from cancer with the power of love. Amy claimed she had reincarnated 534 times, with her past lives including Cleopatra, Jesus Christ, Harriet Tubman, and Marilyn Monroe. But Amy's health began to rapidly decline after she herself was reportedly diagnosed with cancer in 2020. She was eventually paralyzed from the neck down and begged her members to take her to the hospital, but they refused, and she ended up dying in April of 2021 at the age of 46. When police were alerted, they found her mummified corpse in a state of decay that suggested she'd been dead for several weeks. It was stuffed in a sleeping bag wrapped with Christmas lights, with the face covered in glitter and both eyes removed. Authorities stated it was a makeshift shrine and ended up charging 7 members of the group with desecration of a corpse.
Stay away from
Here's the
cults.
fact that I find really messes with my head. Dinosaurs lived on the other side of the galaxy. You see, just like our planets orbit the sun also orbits this, a supermassive black hole in the center of the Milky Way. And it takes us about 230 million years to go around it. So if the dinosaurs looked up at night, their sky would have looked completely different. Different constellations, stars in different places. Because the dinosaurs were literally in a different part of the galaxy.
Were they?
Did you guys hear about the woman who was forced to give up her baby after 5 months because of an IVF that went wrong? Christina Murray began her IVF process in 2023 with the clinic Coastal Fertility, and they transferred an embryo into her, and she gave birth that following December. Christina chose a sperm donor with dirty blonde hair and blue eyes, which are features very similar to hers, but when her baby boy was born, he was dark-skinned and clearly African American. Christina let the clinic know that something must have went wrong, and they told her and confirmed that, yeah, we made a mistake. After a DNA test was done, it was confirmed that the baby was not genetically related to her. Nevertheless, she fell in love with this baby and she formed this strong bond, but she was forced to give him back to his parents. The baby's biological parents sued Christina for custody, and she volunteered to give him up after her lawyers told her that she had no chance of winning in court. This is so heartbreaking. This woman carried her baby for 9 months, created a strong bond, loved this baby to death, only to be told that she had to give him up after 5 months.
That is so messed up, man. Because somebody on the doctor's office made a mistake, she had to pay for it.
Here's 3 times when you should not drink water. Number 1, right before bed. It can lead to poor quality sleep as you'll need the bathroom during the night, and it may potentially even cause facial swelling in the morning. Number 2, to wash down spicy food. Water actually spreads the capsaicin molecule, which is the thing that makes your mouth feel on fire, therefore making it worse. Drink milk instead. And finally, number 3, if your urine is colourless. This water overload can lead to low sodium levels, which may potentially have damaging health consequences, even a heart attack. Now comment the most amount of water you've drunk in a day.
Maybe like 2 or 3 bottles. Actually, like, probably
Banned
that's
cartoons from different countries. USA. SpongeBob SquarePants. India. Family Guy. Venezuela. The Simpsons. Saudi Arabia. Pokemon. China. Winnie the Pooh.
Oh.
Australia. Peppa Pig.
Shout out to our mom. She pregnant
Turkey.
again.
Powerpuff Girls. Poland. Teletubbies. Vietnam. Dragon Ball Z.
amazing things you have never seen before. This man was walking in his yard and the ground started moving. This isn't fried chicken, it's actually a crystal. This is what the top of Mount Everest looks like. It was so cold that this person's food froze midair. This is what a cat's tongue looks like under a microscope. It looks like a bunch of smaller tongues. And I bet you've never seen a brick road machine. I always thought people did it.
Forbidden places.
Me too. Got something for everything nowadays. Shouldn't be surprised.
Animals that were caught in 4K. This cat taught himself how to drink water from the fountain and the owner caught him in the act. This sign is supposed to scare off trespassers, but this isn't much of a guard dog. And this family was sleeping when they caught a bear breaking into their home on camera and even opening the fridge for food.
Imagine y'all seen a bear in y'all kitchen. What are y'all doing? I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm jumping out the window or something, man. I ain't gonna fuck no bear, bro. That is wild. Trying to get a plate. That's interesting. What the hell? Ooh.
Can you pass the hearing test?
Here's something. Oh, yeah, it's gone.
Today we're talking about the Jaws movie animatronics and how huge they are and how gross and terrifying they also are. So this was a little drawing schematic that was put out for the Jaws movie and like how they were filming it, and like look up here, that's what it looked like underwater. This disgusting, look, there were two people in the water in scuba suits with cameras to film them. This would be $1 million a day job for me to hold down. I could not. This is really icky. Not that icky because it's not in the water yet, but these hydraulics that I know are gonna go in the water, yay. Why is bro booping his snoot like it's a cute little puppy? That is not a puppy, that is terror. Also, why would you do this? Why would you get in the mouth of an animatronic shark? This is fake for TikTok. This is fake. It's a fake shark. Do not do this at home. Why would you do this in the first place? Is that Steven Spielberg? I don't know what he looked like in the 70s. This is icky. This is an icky photo. I don't like this at all. I showed this one in the video yesterday of how big it is in comparison to a human. That is also from the video yesterday talking about the animatronic and Japan. You know what this reminds me of? This picture of the animatronic shark? It reminds me of the shark, robot shark from James and the Giant Peach. Does anyone remember this? I was terrified of this at 3 years old. So yeah, could you work on the Jaws ride movie if we were to go back in time? I bet not.
50 people have died just hours after showing symptoms for a mystery illness in the Congo. According to the World Health Organization, the outbreak began after 3 children ate a bat. Since then, 419 cases have been recorded, and all those who died did so 48 hours after developing symptoms. The CDC have since told thedailymail.com that international risk of the disease is low.
How many things Elon Musk can actually buy? Part 3. Firstly, as of right now, Elon Musk's current net worth is around $430 billion, and you wouldn't believe what he's able to buy with his money. So if Elon really wanted to, he could purchase around 1,600,000 Ferraris. That's an insane number. However, for his own car brand, he could realistically buy over 10 million Teslas that are brand new. Now, if Elon wanted to spend his money at the movie theater, he could buy 35 billion movie tickets, or he could fund almost 1,500 mega-budget movies like the Avengers and just create his own movies. Moving on, if Elon wanted to make Tesla cruises, he could purchase around 477 cruise ships, or he could buy around 14,000 personal private jets. Finally, if all that's too boring, if Elon really wanted to, he could buy around 2 million different people a brand new $200,000 home. The amount of money he has is absolutely mind-boggling.
That's way too much money, man. I know if I says, but I think there's a point we could have like too much money. I truly believe that.
I am so concerned for this man on TikTok. It's really giving, like, how far would you go just for a video? He hangs out with these, like, random indigenous tribes, and apparently these are the guardians of the tribe that he was hanging out with. And he calls this tribe the scariest tribe in the country in the video. Like, is he not concerned for his safety? Not that the tribe itself is, like, necessarily dangerous, but, like, these people don't speak the same language as him. They don't know what he's doing, really. Like, he's making TikToks, but like they don't have like technology and stuff in their tribe. Like they don't really know what's going on. And it seems that his account is like dedicated to making videos like this. Like he has been with many different tribes. And it's like, do they even understand what like the phone is? I just have so many questions. And then in one of his videos, he was like, I'm hanging out with like these cannibals. And I'm just like, you are not a part of their tribe. Like, that could be really dangerous. Not that these people are necessarily dangerous. They seem really sweet, like letting him in. You just don't know because you can't understand them. You're speaking a different language. Come over here for more content. It really helps when you interact.
The video I'm about to show you is freaking out the internet. Take a look at this deer and watch what it does. People believe that this deer was shape-shifting, and that it might be a wendigo. Wendigos are cannibalistic shapeshifters from Algonquin folklore. Could this be a wendigo about to shapeshift into its true form, and it caught the camera and it's like, oh shit, can't do it now? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, follow me on YouTube, link in bio for more. Just do it.
Could be. The way it was twisting and turning.
A bizarre vegan cult has left a trail of death across America. But not long ago, they were just a group of young, talented tech people trying to save the world. So what went so wrong? And warning, this gets weird as hell. You see, too many villain arcs begin with a rejection. I mean, we're not even going to talk about art school. And this one is no different. Jack LaSota, a trans woman, was pushed out of a radical online community known as the Rationalist Movement after Jack's ideas were too extreme, even for them. One of which was the idea that the two hemispheres of the human brain had different genders and were actively trying to kill each other. But being kicked out didn't mean that those ideas just went away. Jack took his online username, Ziz, and created a group that became known as the Zizians. And they didn't just want to talk about their ideas online, they wanted to create a new way of life. And in 2017, they took those ideas seriously. Somewhere off the coast of California, they acquired an old, rusting World War II era tugboat, and their plan for it was radical. Create a floating community of free-thinking individuals who would live outside the rules of society, focusing on philosophy, AI, research, and radical veganism. And after 5 years of living on this boat, they probably thought they'd achieved this. But locals who saw the Zizians on board, they described them as dirty, isolated, feral humans. And after this rusted old boat started actually sinking, the Zizians were forced on land, and that's where things turned dark. Homeless and desperate, the Zizians relocated to California, and that's where they met 82-year-old Curtis Lynn. He rented them a space in his trailer park for around $2,000 a month, and at first, things seemed stable. Then, suddenly, they stopped paying. Curtis tried to evict them, the Zizians refused to leave, and the situation spiraled to the point where Curtis was attacked with a freaking sword. He was impaled through the chest, inflicted multiple stab wounds, including one that blinded his right eye. But despite his severe injuries, he managed to shoot 2 of his attackers, one fatally, and somehow he survived. But then, just last month, days before he was actually supposed to testify in court against the Zizians, Curtis was fatally stabbed in the neck outside his home by someone with the name Maximilian Schneider, successfully stopping him from ever testifying. And this was just the start. Another Zizian member was arrested after both her parents were found shot dead inside their home. And then also last month, 2 Zizian members got into a full-on shootout with Border Patrol, which resulted in the death of one of the officers and one of the members. And inside their car, authorities found night vision goggles, tactical gear, and an arsenal of weapons. Authorities realized this wasn't just some group of fringe intellectuals. This was a violent cult. And all of this led to the most recent arrest, the leader, Jack LaSota. Ziz was arrested dressed in all black, carrying ammunition belts and a weapon. And unfortunately, it doesn't even stop there, because authorities believe that several of these members are still out there, some in hiding and others possibly even planning their next move.
So you like anything creepy?
but have you heard of the urban
Same
legend of
group.
Carmen Winstead? 17-year-old Carmen Winstead was in high school. Her dad had lost his job, so they had to relocate to Indiana so he could get a new job. Carmen was finding it very difficult to leave her friends behind and make new ones, and because of her fear of criticism, it was very hard to do that. The first 2 semesters of her new school were very challenging, but things started to turn around when she became friends with a group of 5 girls. These girls appeared to be nice, but Carmen found out that they were gossiping and spreading false information about her. One of those rumors was that Carmen was having an affair with the school's janitor. Another one of those rumors was that she would wipe her snot on people when they weren't looking, and there were many more rumors that just ruined her reputation at that school. These girls started calling Carmen derogatory names, breaking into her locker and stealing her items. It had gotten to the point that Carmen was fed up with the bullying, so she was going to stay after school to talk to the teachers about it. That same day, there was a fire drill right after lunch, and as everyone was waiting for roll call from their teachers, Carmen was spotted near a sewer opening with those 5 girls. Those 5 girls had a plan to push Carmen down that sewer opening, and it would be so embarrassing for her and the whole school would laugh. Those girls swarmed her, pushed her, and shoved her into the sewer opening. One of the girls yelled, "She's in the sewer," giggling, and the teacher went to go check on Carmen, and when she saw Carmen, she was standing still and her head was turned to one side. The police were called, and once they arrived, they saw that Carmen had scraped her whole face off when she went down and her neck was broken. All of the students had to stay behind and be interrogated, and the 5 girls claimed that Carmen had just fell down on her own, and because of this, the case was closed and classified as an accident. A few months later, strange posts from an unidentified person started appearing on the Facebook of the students that went to Carmen's school, and it stated that her death was not an accident and she was pushed. That unidentified person left a window of opportunity for the people involved to come forward and to turn themselves in, and if they didn't, they would face the consequences. No one came forward, and those 5 girls were found dead one by one. As a ghost, Carmen would send chain mail, and if those people that received it didn't send it to 15 people, then she would kill them. According to the legend, Carmen will get them whether it's a toilet, shower, sink, or a drain. When those people would wake up, they would be in a sewer, paralyzed and terrified, hearing laughter all over the place, and then Carmen would tear their face off. Whoever would obey Carmen's demands, she would look after and...
You didn't know, Part 237. The first use of a slow-motion replay in television was during the gruesome boxing match between Benny Paret and Emil Griffith. Benny never recovered from the fight and died 10 days later due to brain hemorrhaging. Aga Muhammad Khan was an 18th century Persian king who ordered the execution of 2 servants for being too loud. He decided to postpone their execution to avoid doing it on a holy day. He let them return to their duties and they killed him that very same night. Alfred Lowenstein was the 3rd richest person in the world in the 1920s. This was due to his investments in electric power and artificial silks. While on a trip to Brussels on his private aircraft in 1928, he went to the rear of the plane to use the bathroom but never returned. When his secretary went looking for him, they discovered that the bathroom was empty but the entrance door to the plane was flapping open. His body was discovered about a week later, and an autopsy revealed he had a partial fracture in his skull and several broken bones. They concluded that he was still alive when he hit the water in the English Channel. A test was done on his aircraft, and it was found that it was impossible for someone to accidentally fall out of the door. Although many theories exist, what actually happened to him still remains a mystery to this day.
If you believe in God, stay away from Halloween. Muslims, Christians, or anyone who believes in God, Halloween is a pagan festival. It involves evil spirits, jinns, and shaitan. It is forbidden for Muslims, and real Christians will know the truth. Please do not associate with it and stay away. Share this everywhere, spread awareness.
Most disturbing Halloween facts. So you all remember when you were kids and you went trick-or-treating and your parents would try to check your candy for razor blades, and we all kind of just thought it was a myth. But really, it is true. In Ohio, one Halloween night, a child was sorting through their Halloween candy when they cut their finger on a blade in the candy bag. They went to the hospital for stitches and no one else was injured. The blade was hidden inside of the wrapper of a candy bar. The same night in Waterbury, Connecticut, police arrested a man after razor blades were found in the bottom of 2 trick-or-treater candy bags.
So that's where it comes from. That story, that folklore story. I remember hearing that be like parents be checking, you know, kids' candy because they want to make sure nothing's in it. It started all the way back then. Okay. Relearning.
This is the scary truth behind Halloween. Okay, so everybody knows how on Halloween, Everybody dresses up in a costume.
Yeah.
But the original Halloween costumes were a lot creepier. When Halloween first started, people would wear animal heads and skin. They did this because they hoped that the costumes would make wandering spirits think that they are spirits also, and then let them free. This is actually pretty creepy, and I wonder what happened to make them think like this. Thank God it's not like that anymore.
Could you imagine somebody wearing like a wolf skin? You know what this is.
Never stick your tongue out for 10 minutes. Curious facts you didn't know. Each time you take a step, you're using about 200 different muscles. In the United Kingdom, a pregnant woman can pee anywhere she wants, including in a policeman's helmet. Every year, goats cause more deaths than sharks. However, sharks get much more attention in the media. You would never know that a child has 98 more bones than an adult. Someone you spoke to today is speaking ill of you behind your back. It's the first person who appears when you press the green icon below. Swipe everything to the right and go to the More option. There you will find the person. The inventor of the light bulb, Thomas Edison, created it because he was afraid of the dark. Ants have two stomachs, one to store food for themselves and another to store food for other ants. The newest country in the world is South Sudan, which was declared in 2011. So you are older than a country. It has been scientifically proven that being alone for a long time is as bad for your health as smoking 35 cigarettes a day. About 30 million people have the same last name as you. What's your last name? See in the comments who else shares it with you. If a drop of water entered your heart, it would stop functioning completely. Curious facts you didn't know. Believe it or not, in a country called Finland, it is illegal to kill mosquitoes. And if you do so, you can be sentenced to up to 3 years in prison. When you find yourself thinking too much about a person, it's because that person is also thinking about you. A 24-year-old man set a world record for keeping his eyes open without blinking for 1 hour and 13 minutes. There are more people dead at the bottom of the sea than in the largest cemetery in the world. Did you know that a baby has 206 more bones than adults? Someone you talked to today has just spoken ill of you behind your back. They are the 5th person who appears when you press the green icon below, swipe everything to the right, and go to the More option. There you will find the person. When you walk, your body is using approximately 200 muscles. About 70% of people have the same last names, but nobody knows it. What's your last name? Also, check the comments to see who else has the same last name as you.
Interesting.
If you're left-brained, you'll see 2 people hugging, but if you're right-brained, you'll see a dinosaur. So which do you see in the photo above?
It's that time of the year, so let's look at the ancient origins of Halloween. The origins of Halloween go back thousands of years to the ancient Celtic pagans. They celebrated a festival called Samhain, meaning end of summer. It basically marked the end of harvest and the beginning of the darker times of the year, so the colder times. They believed that on Samhain, the boundaries between the world of the living and the world of the dead become blurred. And so the return of the undead to our world is celebrated with fire. The crops were burnt and druids will light a big bonfire. The druids were basically Celtic pagan priests, and it's believed that on Samhain they could predict the future.
This is the scary story about Halloween candy. On Halloween night, there was a woman giving out candy all night. As it grew darker and darker, things began to calm down. When it seemed like nobody else was going to be coming, the woman went inside and called it a night. She was just about to turn off the porch light when somebody knocked on the door. She thought it was too late for children to still be out, but she grabbed a handful of candy and opened the door. There were 2 children standing on the porch, but they weren't wearing any costumes. They were the strangest children she had ever seen. Their skin was waxy and ghostly white, and their eyes were completely black, and their teeth were too big to fit in their mouth. The confused woman then said, "What are you guys supposed to be, monsters?" "No," said the children. "Tonight we are dressed as humans." A chill ran down the woman's spine as she shut the door. The children began to bang on the door and scream. The woman then looked through the peephole, but the children were gone, and the road was completely empty. The woman moved houses and never took part in Halloween ever again.
Smart move. I would
The
do that
craziest
too.
Halloween houses you've ever seen. Someone turned their house into a castle and it comes with a dragon. This person made a UFO crash site in their front yard. You have to love Halloween to put that much effort into it. This guy built a huge scarecrow, and look how small he is compared to it. That's gigantic. Someone put a skeleton on the road and made it look like it's coming out of the ground. Before I show you the best one, I just found a way to prank your friends by replacing their text with whatever you want. If you want to prank your friends, press here on my profile, then press change your friends' text messages. And finally, I really don't like spiders, but this was very well done.
What's the most craziest, I guess, decorations you've seen? Me personally, it's probably a scarecrow. That was way too big. I don't know how that man did it.
If you break one of Sam's rules this Halloween, don't say I didn't warn you. Sam is the spirit of Halloween and appears in a new town every single year. He is known to have 4 rules of Halloween. Always give out candy, wear a costume, never blow out a jack-o'-lantern, and number 4, check your candy. Sam goes to different towns to ensure that Halloween traditions are continued and punishing those who ignore it. Sam is very much like a child, always getting in trouble and loves chocolate. Sounds like me. Now remember, as long as you respect Halloween, you should not get a visit from Sam.
The scariest
How about if we
urban
don't?
legends around the world. Russia. Baba Yaga.
John Wick.
Serbia. Serbian dancer.
Interesting. Seen some clips of her.
Japan. Tick tick.
Tick tick.
Arizona. Skinwalker.
We seen a bunch of Skinwalker clips.
West Virginia. Mothman. Maryland. Goatman.
The Goat Man? Never heard that before.
Is it just me or Halloween's dying? Think about it. When we were kids, bro, everyone was in the spirit, man. Everyone would decorate their house. Everyone would carve pumpkins. And I don't know, I feel like nowadays, I don't even see people with pumpkins outside, bro. I find it sad, man. Because our community of kids is growing by the day. And if you really think about it, we should be more in the spirit than ever. I swear I can't be the only one that feels that way, bro. We all have to be engaged as a community, bro. So if you're the only one that hasn't dressed up for Halloween, or at least did something for Halloween, come on, man.
Here are some Halloween facts that you've never heard before. 1 in 4 adults in the United States pretend not to be home when trick-or-treaters knock on their door. Every 19 years, there's a full moon on Halloween. The next one will be in 2039, which means yes, the last one was in 2020. The largest pumpkin ever was bred in a garden in Switzerland. It weighed 950 kilograms or more than 2,000 pounds, which is the weight of a small car. The world's longest haunted house is the Haunted Cave in Lewisburg, Ohio, at 3,564 feet long and 80 feet underground. Hocus Pocus was initially titled Halloween House and was more of a horror than a comedy. Tootsie Rolls were given to soldiers in battle during the Korean War because they provided much needed energy and satisfied hunger, especially when other rations were frozen solid due to the extreme sub-zero temperatures. They also used Tootsie Rolls to plug bullet holes in vehicles and fix leaking radiators by molding the warm candy into patches that would refreeze and hold. The Beverly Hills City Council unanimously banned the use of shaving cream, silly string, and hair removal products for people under the age of 21 for 24 hours every year on Halloween. Why would they want to do that? What can you do with that stuff? Phobia is what the fear of Halloween is officially called. Harry Houdini died from a ruptured appendix on Halloween night in 1926. Candy corn was originally called chicken feed, and the reason for this is because when it first appeared around the late 1800s. That just happened to be a time when over half of America's workforce were farmers. Because of this, candies were often made into agricultural shapes such as chicken feed, which we now think of as corn shaped. We changed it to candy corn after World War I when corn became viewed as food people would actually eat. Keene, New Hampshire holds the record for most lit jack-o'-lanterns. By lighting over Catch the Fruit, the apple they got would determine their future mate. Bobbing for apples is apparently one of the longest on-running traditions from Halloween, and I don't think I've done it in over 20 years. Maybe we should do it again.
A cop passed away after a criminal spits in her face, then the police revealed a shocking cause. Reina was an extremely responsible police officer who worked in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. Together, Reina and her partner, Officer Michael, were almost always together wherever they went. One day while on the job, Reina heard a man screaming on the street corner and decided to approach him. Upon approaching the man, he became extremely violent, and after he was arrested, he spit in Reina's face. Reina kept calm and continued working every single day until one day she became too weak and passed out on the floor. She was immediately rushed to the hospital, but unfortunately passed away. Doctors began running tests to see what could have caused her sudden passing, and what they found left them absolutely shocked. Hit the plus for part 2.
Trick-or-treating started in Scotland and Ireland in the 1600s, and it was originally called guising. The purpose was for a kid to go door to door and perform a trick or an act in return for a treat. This tradition lasted until the 1900s. This is when the tradition began to spread and made its way to North America, where it adopted the term trick-or-treating. And over time, it became less about doing tricks at the door and more about saying trick-or-treat.
Oh no.
That's where it comes from.
No, 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 silly. To dry it. But it exploded. And they were both found dead.
I understand that Halloween is based on pagan origins, right? So we look at that and some people say, well, it's a pagan holiday, so why would you celebrate Halloween if you celebrate your worship and things like that? Well, first thing I want to celebrate is, man, Martin Luther nailed the 95 Theses to the church. Like, that's such a cool part of church history. Like, that's a cool thing to look at. Now, that's not necessarily a part of Halloween. It's like, man, on October 31st, you also have that does occur. But when it comes to Halloween, my first question is, what are you dressing up as, and what are you celebrating? There are probably people that still celebrate it like a pagan holiday. Satanism is real. There are pagans that worship pagan religions. So it's like, man, what are you doing? What's your heart posture? Is it like, oh, is the little 8-year-old boy that dresses up as Spider-Man that goes and gets Kit Kats and candy corn? Like, is that kid worshiping a pagan holiday? In my eyes, I'm like, man, that kid probably can't even spell pagan. He can't spell paganism. Like, what's that kid doing?
Don't know.
He's so pure. He's probably dressing up as his favorite superhero, and he's going to get some Hershey chocolate kisses. And we're so worried about people dressing up as Spider-Man and Superman more than we are unrepentant sin, and more than we are like people knowing Jesus. Like, yes, do I think people still celebrate Halloween in a very negative way and worship pagan gods? Absolutely. But I definitely think there are still a lot of people that just put out candy because it's tradition, and they walk around in costumes and things like that, and that are harmless.
Happy Halloween. Here are some.
See, because you guys celebrate Halloween? I remember when I was younger, man. I kind of, wasn't allowed because what he said, or I guess what it kind of represented, but I don't know. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
Horror movie hot takes that get progressively hotter. For example, the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, I'm not like their biggest defender, but they're much better than what everyone says. In fact, I'll go as far as to say they are better than these two movies. I love both, but the twist in Orphan is better than the twist in Saw. That is all I'm going to say. When it comes to remakes, I really love the original Ring, but I think the American remake is slightly better. This year's Speaking of Evil is a good remake. The original is better. Rapid fire, best and worst of movies and franchises. In Final Destination, the best is the second, and the worst is the fourth one. For Scream, the best is the first one, but the worst, I'm going to say Scream 5. For Saw, the best is the second one, and the worst is Jigsaw. I love both Hereditary and Midsommar, but I have to live my truth. I think I'm more of a Midsommar guy. For movies where I just don't understand the hype, As Above, So Below, I've tried so many times, but I'm really glad people love it. Also, The Black Phone, kind of the epitome of average. Two best horror movies so far this year are The First Omen and Longlegs. Longlegs being the one that's probably the more divisive pick. If I were to do a Mount Rushmore of the best horror villains introduced in the 21st century, it would go like this: Jigsaw or Billy the Puppet and Art the Clown. Art the Clown, I think, has earned his spot. Then I would go Samara from The Ring, and I think Valak from The Conjuring. Now, if I were to expand that and go to the best horror villains of all time, that list is different. Michael and Freddy make the list not really that crazy. But in third and fourth, I would go Chucky and the Xenomorph. I know, but again, live your truth. And then out of all the horror movies that come out in like the last 20 years, the most disturbing one isn't Terrifier 3 or Sinister. The answer is actually Tusk. It's the only movie that's made me want to reach into my brain, take out the memory of me watching it, and never think about it ever again.
Really?
Ionized Eve presents Lighthouse.
You know that's cat.
Fun fact, Halloween traces its roots back more than 2,000 years to the Celtic festival of Samhain, which ended on November 1st and marked the start of their new year. The Celts believed that on the night of October 31st, the separation between the world of the living and the dead was thinnest and would allow the spirits of the dead to walk among them. So they would leave offerings and light bonfires for the spirits, and also dress up, hoping the dead spirits wouldn't recognize them. In the 7th century, when the Catholic Church began converting pagan holidays into Catholic ones, they changed November 1st into All Saints' Day, but the night before still had bonfires and costumes under its new name, All Hallows' Eve. In 16th century England, people would go door to door on All Saints' Day and offer to pray for the homeowner's dead loved ones in exchange for food, cakes, or money. In Scotland and Ireland, children would dress up in costumes and go door to door and sing or recite poetry in exchange for treats. As people immigrated to the US, they brought Hallows' Eve with them, but Halloween didn't really take off until after the Second World War, and the commercialism boom of the 1950s turned it into what it is today.
Gruesome facts you didn't know.
Interesting.
242. In 2016, this man in China paid a hitman 70,000 yuan to kill him. He then changed his mind after being stabbed in the stomach over a dozen times. The man was confined to a wheelchair following a car accident and became depressed, wanting to end his life. In August of 2022, Rebecca Vance, her 13-year-old son, and her sister Christine ventured into the Colorado wilderness wanting to live off the grid. With little to no preparation, amateur survival skills, and simply watching a few YouTube videos, the trio was never seen again. It wasn't until July of this year that a hiker stumbled across their mummified bodies at their campsite. The coroner believes they didn't even make it through the winter. In 2009, James Washington was serving a 15-year prison sentence in Tennessee when he suffered a heart attack. Believing he was on his deathbed, he confessed to a guard that he had beaten a woman to death. He survived, and the cold case of Joyce Goodner was reopened following his confession. When he recovered, he tried to take his confession back. He received an additional 51 years behind bars.
Something about people, man, when the end is near, they want to get truthful.
How the hell is this even real? It may not be news for you, but it is for me, so I'm talking about it. 24 years ago, The Simpsons dropped an episode where Lisa is the first female president of the United States, and she's not only wearing a purple suit, but also pearls. Look familiar? And to make the coincidence even crazier, they dropped this line.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
Now, to be fair, Trump did actually run in 2000, which is probably where they got that reference from, but regardless, if Kamala wins and says those words while wearing a purple suit at that desk, I think the world would implode.
Right!
What is it about freaking Simpsons mapping out the future before it even happened? There's something going on behind the scenes, man. Whew.
Comes the implosion!
Implosion? But I thought you said...
Deadliest computer viruses in the world, Part 9. The WinXP Horror Edition virus. You're gonna remember this one while you sleep tonight. Malware that disguises itself as a Windows update. No further explanation needed. The best way to understand is to experience it. Right-click open, let's infect this bitch. The PC restarts and we hop right into stage 1, fake system update. Windows appears to be installing an update, but it's all a ploy. Looks like we're getting close, but it stops at 66%. And then, error message. Setup cannot copy the file ntdll.dll. Setup will use the file 666.sys. Okay, I guess. This initiates stage 2. Windows theme hijack. Our entire theme gets swapped to this red background creepy eye looking thing as the update continues. This ominous music begins to play with the message, "Don't look behind you." This time the update actually hits 100% and we're gonna... Oh, okay. First jump scare here with a static noise and a glitchy transition. The theme hijack continues with this skeleton boot loading screen until we get to my favorite part. The classic Windows XP start sound. Let me know if you're old enough to remember that, but with a nice horror sounding twist to it. We finally get to the desktop where the red theme goes on and the entire wallpaper's been replaced with skulls. Our entire PC is wiped except for my computer, this file named nothing, another one called don'topenme.txt, and recycle bin at the very bottom. And we're going to be opening all of these to see where they take us. But first, it gets worse. Stage 3, screen flashes. We get these scary ass photos that continuously flash in the background. Oh, nice. The start menu icon says dead. Click it and our user profile is 666. And there we have more screen flashes, but let's have a bit of fun now. We'll start by... oh, looks like my cursor turned into an eyeball here, but yeah, let's open up nothing and keep this virus going. Okay, so the music changed and oh, there's stage 4. Horror animation. This unsettling flash animation era creepy pasta cartoon takes over the whole screen and you're just kind of forced to watch it. I'm gonna fast forward it for you guys, but the animation is called The Sad Man by Jake Lava that tells the story of this lonely masked creature that I guess befriends a little girl. It's low-key kind of giving Salad Fingers. A huge throwback if you remember Salad Fingers. That's some OG internet shit right there, and also you old as fuck. Anyway, the girl unmasks the creature to find out he's got a Duanussy on his face, and he eats her. Animation ends, and we're back to desktop. The nothing file is all glitchy now. Honestly, that's a pretty cool looking effect. The animator did a great job with that. Screen flashes continue, but let's open the next file. Don'topenme.txt. Classic horror movie music plays with the message, "Congratulations, you opened me. Do you want to play a game? Okay, then look behind you." I don't know why I keep saying that. But we've entered stage 5, I guess. Game over. You think you're in the clear, and then another jump scare, I believe from a horror video game called Granny, followed by the text on screen, game over. Back to desktop, and this file is glitching now too, but let's open my computer. Surely that should work just fine, right? Nope, we get this message. Do you seriously want to trash your computer forever? Nice. Let's say no, I don't want to do that. Oh, well, that option just disappeared. Yes is our only choice now. I guess there's no escape with this one. Actually, let's just close the prompt and forget we ever opened it. Unfortunately, once you click it, nothing can stop the inevitable stage 6. Computer meltdown. My computer just got tossed into the recycle bin and now... yeah, okay, one more jump scare, sorry about that. Followed by what looks like a fake red screen of death message that just kind of repeats over and over again. Yup, this sure ain't looking good. Oh, and now finally, the official blue screen of death, and our computer is cooked. If you restart now, the virus's final payload overwrites the master boot record, MBR, meaning this entire PC is now essentially just an image of an eye, along with the message, "I'm watching you," and the virus creator's name. Happy Halloween, motherfuckers. Sleep tight tonight.
I've just got even crazier. Part 4. Firstly, in Poland, 240 mines were accidentally sent to an IKEA, and apparently the mishap only came to light when the IKEA store called the military to ask when they were going to pick up these mines from their IKEA warehouse. From this, an army general was fired for losing these mines. Next, we all know about this TikTok ban that is happening. Well, it's kind of backfiring, because thousands and thousands of TikTok users are switching to the Chinese app Rednote, and from this, Duolingo has seen a 216% spike in users in the US learning Mandarin. Finally, stealing has got so bad in some areas, some stores are starting to literally lock up everything, like regular items like chips. So now, you literally have to get an employee just to get a chip back.
Crazy history we're not taught in school. 4 countries tried to claim a new island in the Mediterranean that ended up disappearing again only 6 months later. The first female US senator was also the last congressperson to own slaves. Babyface Nelson ended the lives of more FBI agents than any other criminal in history. For 3 days in 1924, all radio stations went quiet for 5 minutes on the hour, every hour, to listen to messages from aliens, but none were ever detected. The Vatican sent an investigator to determine if Shirley Temple was a 30-year-old posing as a child. There used to be fat men clubs that only let people over 200 pounds in. These clubs declined in popularity as obesity became viewed unfavorably. Before the 1900s, there was a long S character feature that designated the presence of 2 S's in a row as seen here on the Bill of Rights. During a recent expedition to find the Loch Ness Monster, a 30-foot model of it was found at the bottom of Loch Ness, which happened to be a lost prop from a 1970s movie.
This is 14-year-old Kalea Turner, and after more than a year of being bullied at school, she attempted to end her own life. She died for 8 minutes before paramedics were able to revive her. However, she suffered severe brain damage and remained in a coma for weeks. And according to a new lawsuit filed this month by the girl's family, while Kalea was in a coma, one of the bullies allegedly made their way inside the ICU and took multiple photos of her while incubated and posted these pictures on social media, spreading rumors about her injuries. The parents claim that the school failed to protect her, failed to intervene, and didn't take proper action even after the bullying was reported multiple times. And because Kalea has been left with potentially permanent disabilities, they are now suing the district and faculty to cover Kalea's medical bills, the parents' lost wages while taking care of her, her disability care, and much more. The school has denied the allegations and claimed that its staff took the appropriate steps when dealing with any bullying incidents.
Terrifying games you should play Part 9. The Answer Man game. If you win this game, any questions you might have in life will be answered correctly. But if you play it incorrectly, you'll lose more than just the game. To play this game, you'll need to gather 10 of your friends and have them stand in a loose circle. Each person should pull out their cell phone and call the person to their left at the same time. At this point, one of 2 things will happen. Either all of the phones will go to voicemail, in which case you'll have to try again, or one of the phones will get an answer. The person on the other end of the phone is the mysterious Answer Man. He will answer any questions you have in life correctly, but be warned. For every question you ask him, he will ask you a question as well, and you have to answer truthfully or you'll lose the game. If you cannot answer one of his questions truthfully, he will come for you within the next couple of days and collect his payment in flesh instead. In order to end the game, you must repeat that it is time for the Answer Man to go until he finally hangs up the phone. He will try to argue with you and even offer you bribes to let him stay on the call, but you must stay strong. It's also recommended you destroy the phones after the game. Comment whether or not you would play this game, and follow for more.
That's a hell no for me, man. I've never played any of those freaking games where you gotta try to communicate with a spirit or something like that. I don't need that bad energy around my life, so that's a no! We don't do that over here, Sheekish, man. We bring in good positive vibes only. Keep that negativity away from us, man. At all costs.
Elephants do think you're cute. I was wrong. Okay, not like this. This is still mostly made up. But let me explain, because I low-key gotta hold that one. So you know how humans are the smartest things alive, but because the learning curve is so high, our babies have a self-preservation of a kumquat. It's kind of the same thing with baby elephants. If ignorance is bliss, premature pachyderm live in euphoria. One of the biggest threats to a baby elephant is them literally getting distracted, wandering away, and then losing their mothers forever. Animals use play as preparation for the life they'll live, and it's proven that elephants that play the most as babies have a better chance at life as adults. That's why you'll see these videos of elephants chasing around birds or playing tag with dogs. They're literally wired to be playful. So when they see a human, they often just see another thing they can play with. And since humans aren't usually afraid of a baby elephant, a lot of times they figure out humans give them the best response. So it's not really that elephants think we're cute, it's that baby elephants think everything's cute, including humans. And I wouldn't believe that if I didn't meet a baby elephant myself. And to say she single-handedly hiked my health insurance would be an understatement. What they don't tell you is a baby elephant finding you cute means a car-sized St. Bernard trying to tackle you. She did not know her own strength. They even warn you not to play with her for your own good, because if you do, she'll get excited. And fun fact, when baby elephants get excited, they make noise. And that noise is like a Batman signal to a literal Big Mama. And as cute as you may be, best believe she will not agree. So a baby elephant will really have you running for your health in the best way possible. If you want to see a video of that happening, or you just want to keep up with me in general in case this app does become past tense, Casual Geographic on YT. Appreciate y'all. The more you know. No, but like seriously, don't play with a baby elephant. Whatever it is, they'll break it and take it.
Yo, what's up?
Okay.
Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 41. There's actually something called anesthesia awareness, and I'm not talking about waking up during surgery. I'm talking about you are awake during surgery, but the surgeons can't tell because you can't move your mouth, and you can't move your eyes. So you know what's going on, but they don't. So in the event that your plane actually crashes into an ocean somewhere, flight attendants are specifically asked not to pull dead bodies onto the lifeboat. So if your child, your spouse, or one of your friends dies, you're just gonna have to, kick the body overboard. So aside from the fact that if you're decapitated, your head can move for a certain amount of time off your body, humans can actually live skinned alive for 6 days. 4 if you want to add salt. if you've somehow gotten that situation. And lastly, there's something called a rat king, and it's not a massive rat. It's just a bunch of rats come together with dirt, blood, hair, tails. Ugh.
Now this is truly disturbing.
From The Last of Us? Part 2?
Bianca Ellis, a killer, stalks a mother and her young child as they walk out of a grocery store. Notice how Bianca is carrying a knife with her. You won't even believe what happens next. The woman in that video was 32-year-old Bianca Devins. And after she walked off camera in that video, she stabbed the 3-year-old child to death and also stabbed the child's mother, Margot. The victim, 3-year-old Julian Wood, was a normal boy. And according to everyone reporting on this case, he and his mother had no connection to Bianca whatsoever. This was a completely random act of violence. Bianca can be seen in that extended security camera footage brandishing a knife while walking around the store, scoping out potential victims. And then, like I showed you at the beginning, towards the end, she identifies the mother and her son for some reason and follows them out to the parking lot where she stabbed them. Disturbingly, in a recent court appearance, Bianca can actually be seen smiling, laughing, and giggling as charges of murder are read against her. And like I said before, it's unknown why she carried out this attack, and prosecutors right now are saying this was a completely random act of violence. I'm going to keep you guys updated on the story here, but if you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast that I co-host with my wife, Courtney, Murder in America. It's available on all streaming platforms.
Crazy
That's why I gotta be aware of our surroundings.
A boss let go of a member of his staff because she came back from maternity leave pregnant again. A recall has been issued after Minute Maid sold zero sugar lemonade that contained 40 grams of sugar. This is the most recent and clearest image of Mars that we have. And this is the most recent image of Earth that we have. For the first time in recorded history, which is 130 years, there was no snow on Mount Fuji in November. A 1,000-pound tuna was caught in New Hampshire. Snoop Dogg has confirmed that he has a staff member that makes sure that everyone else doesn't get too high while they're smoking. A man who won an $11 million lottery says he now feels regret for buying houses for his friends that he is no longer in contact with. A popular flat earther YouTuber admitted he was wrong after taking a trip to Antarctica to test the theory of flat earth. An Italian nun was arrested over strong links to a powerful mafia network.
What was that nun doing, bro? She had ties to the mob? Man. That's shocking, bro. Never in a million years, man, would have guessed a nun, man, had ties to the mob, bro. And that maternity leave story is just diabolical as well. Came back pregnant. He just let her
X
go.
died 4 years ago on this very day. Let's take a second to remember some of his last words. On June 18th, 2018, X went to an ATM to withdraw some cash. As X started driving away, a black SUV started to follow him all the way to a nearby motorsports shop. So X went inside the shop, and after a few hours, he noticed that the black SUV was still in the parking lot. Two men hopped out of the SUV and demanded that X give them his car. As X tried to fight back, he was shot in the neck 3 times. Witnesses claim his last words were something like, "What the F is going on?" but his last verified words were these.
I've gone through my fair share of destruction and pain in the process to get where I've gotten, and anything is possible. If I'm gonna die or ever be a sacrifice, I want to make sure that my life made at least 5 million kids happy. Or they found some sort of answers or resolve in my life. Your mind is limitless. You are worth more than you could believe. All you have to do is dream, and all you have to do is want to fulfill that dream and have the strength to fulfill that.
How old were you when...
Man, it's kind of eerie. It's like X kind of knew, man. We know his music was special. It touched, I say it touched way more than freaking 5 million kids, so he carried out his last words, man. Man, to have like the foresight to kind of sense when you know, scared to think about.
When you realize that shopping carts are the ultimate test of the goodness of mankind. We can all agree that putting your cart away when you're done shopping is the socially and morally correct thing for anyone to do. It's easy, it's convenient, and it's a task that pretty much every human on Earth is physically capable of. It is the objectively right thing that anyone should do under any circumstance, save the extremely rare urgent emergency. At the same time, it's not a law or even an enforced rule that people must follow. In this sense, the shopping cart is the pinnacle litmus test as to whether someone will do the right thing without being forced to do it. We don't get punished, fined, or hurt for not putting it away, but we also don't get rewarded for doing so. We simply must return the shopping cart out of the goodness of our hearts because it is the morally right thing to do. Anyone who doesn't is technically no better than a savage animal who can only be made to do what is right no matter how easy and convenient it is by threatening them with punishment. Therefore, the shopping cart is the ultimate determination of universal morality, whether a person is a good or bad member of society, so be a good person.
Here's a test.
I'm that shopping cart.
You or someone you know has thalassophobia. Thalassophobia is the fear of deep or open water. At level 1 we have this image, and if you look below the baby's feet, you'll realize that you can see nothing. That's what freaks people out, that you can't see anything down there, but there's a feeling like something's watching you from below. If this is making you feel unsettled, don't watch the rest, because level 2 is even worse. At level 2 we have a person falling into an expansive open body of water. To make it even worse, there's a squid-like creature hiding in the corner. And at level 3 we have the worst one yet. And it's a person swimming above a gigantic snake-like creature in the water, and we have no idea how big it is. And if you made it this far, level 4, the bonus is this creature. This photo honestly just makes me want to cry. If you survived all the levels, congrats. Make sure you send this video to a friend to see if they can pass the test and follow for more.
This here is Nigel Richards, and he decides to compete in a Spanish Scrabble competition. He doesn't speak Spanish. Let me explain. So Nigel's known for being a professional player at Scrabble. Yes, you heard me, Scrabble. He's so good at it that he holds 5 English world titles. But for Nigel, having titles to back up his family game night skills wasn't enough, and he wanted to compete in another competition. This time in Spanish, except he doesn't know the language. So he spends the next year memorizing the Spanish word list for Scrabble. Thankfully for him, he manages to use the same strategy that he uses for English in Spanish. You see, Nigel never really did well in his English classes. He didn't even attend a university or college. But what he did have was a strong photographic memory, and he could look at a block of words together and see where it goes. Oh, and plot twist, he's competed in another language before. In 2015, he became the French language Scrabble champion. This was without knowing any French prior, and he studied the word list for 9 weeks. And he won it again in 2018. So it was no surprise that he managed to dominate the competition and won the Spanish competition, even defeating the reigning champion of 18 years, Benjamin Alezola. Now, Nigel's considered a legend in the Scrabble community, with tens of thousands of people going online to analyze how he plays. It's basically if Mike Ross pursued Scrabble instead of being a lawyer.
Cum-filled cupcakes were served to children by this teacher in Louisiana. Meet Cynthia Perkins, and let me warn you, this story is incredibly disturbing. So back in 2019, investigators were tipped off about this woman, Cynthia, and her husband, Dennis. Apparently, some images had surfaced depicting the couple raping a child. And when investigators finally swept in October of 2019 and arrested the couple, what they found out was disturbing. Cynthia, who at the time of her arrest was a middle school English teacher, had allegedly gotten a sperm sample from her husband, baked that sperm into some cupcakes, and brought the cupcakes into her classroom, where she then served those baked goods to her own students. When the police raided the couple's home, they found hidden cameras in the bathrooms and in the attic, and they uncovered a lot of evidence that the couple had been producing child pornography, with a victim under the age of 13 years old. Cynthia at first was unrepentant and tried to pin this all on her husband, but shortly after they were arrested, she divorced her husband and admitted that she had, yes, taken part in this entire thing, and just last year she was sentenced to over 40 years of prison time. Now, her husband Dennis was actually a sheriff's deputy, and in a completely unrelated case, another woman was found guilty of helping Dennis rape, a woman who was completely unconscious, and yes, they filmed the attack. So these two were serial predators and offenders, and this story just goes to show that these people don't look evil. Predators come in all shapes and sizes, even teachers and cops.
Fun fact, in 2004, a secret movie theater was found in the catacombs under Paris. But when the police went to investigate, it was gone, and the only thing left was a note that said, "Do not try and find us." There's 174 miles of caves and tunnels under the city of Paris. and people have been banned from entering the catacombs without a tour guide since 1955. But while on a training exercise in the catacombs, police entered a tunnel where they noticed motion-detected security cameras began recording them, and as they went deeper, an audio recording of dogs barking began to play. And then they found an open area where a movie screen and projector were installed, as well as a fully stocked bar and a restaurant with tables and chairs. The whole area was powered by a professionally installed power cable, and it had 3 telephone lines. 3 days later, the police went back with experts from the French electricity board to see where the power was coming from, but it was all gone. And the only thing left was a note on the floor that said, "Do not try and find us." Hit the link in my bio to check out my crazy underground spaces video.
Why would they having a freaking underground movie theater in Paris, bro? They don't want them to find them. And like I said, how would they run to that power?
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. An average human walks past 36 murderers in their lifetime. There's future biotech technology. When injected into prisoners, it makes them feel they served a 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. The blue whale ejaculates over 40 gallons of sperm when mating. Only 10% enters the female. And you always wonder why the sea tasted salty. If you block your nose when you sneeze, you can rupture a blood vessel in your neck that can make you bleed to death. People that are left-handed die 3 years faster than people that are right-handed. Watching horror films can burn up to 200 calories. You may be living the last year of your life without being aware of it. You are always 6 minutes away from death. Breathing just resets the clock. There's a lot more, like for part 9.
That breathing one got to me. I never really thought about it that way.
Times when Gen Alpha words caused the unimaginable to happen. Firstly, schools around the world have been making lists of Gen Alpha words that are banned from being said at school, because not only do teachers claim it's just straight confusing, they're also worried about it disrupting classroom atmospheres. Next, in 2024, Walmart posted an advertisement encouraging viewers to shop for back-to-school fashion, but it immediately backfired when they started using Gen Alpha words to cater to the younger audience.
No cap, you are cringe or Ohio at all.
Well, when the internet came across this, they literally turned the advertisement into a meme. I guess be careful when using Gen Alpha words.
Crazy things happening in the world right now. Spike the Chihuahua, born on November 30th, 1999, is the only dog left alive from the previous millennium. A Florida judge used a Quest 2 to experience a crime firsthand. A declassified document from the CIA says they used astral projection to visit Mars 1,000,000 years ago, back in 1984. Taylor Swift did not actually sign a guitar that a man bought for $4,000 just to destroy. A woman was left disappointed after filming what she thought was Northern Lights, when in reality was actually a tomato factory nearby. A Wisconsin man was found to have faked his own death after being found in Uzbekistan. 43 monkeys still remain on the run from a South Carolina lab. Costco was forced to recall over 80,000 pounds of butter because the label forgot to mention that it had milk. A raccoon burst through the ceiling tiles at LaGuardia Airport. A British man passed away falling off a bridge in Spain while he was creating online content.
This is what would happen if all humans fell asleep for 1 year. After just 5 seconds, all the cars on the road will begin to crash and pile up on each other. This would be a complete mess. Next, just after 1 minute, everybody will be sleeping in the most random places. Like in the doctor's office or a grocery store, or just in the middle of the street. Next up, after 20 minutes, all the planes in the sky will begin to fall back down to Earth. On average, there is 9.7 thousand planes in the sky at once, carrying over 1.2 million people. So this wouldn't be good at all. Next, after 12 hours, millions of people would be dead. This is because whatever activity they were doing before they fell asleep could result in their death, like a car crash, plane crash, or just falling.
Don't fall asleep, man.
This man has a problem of snoring at night, so he sticks a sticker to his mouth. But when his wife removed the sticker, this is what happens.
What the? I saw this the way his mouth was moving. What the? anything to stop him from snoring, I guess. But
2026 is going to be crazy. Let me explain. So even though 2025 just started, many people online are saying it's just not off to a good start, and they're already ready for 2026. So saying that, let's talk about how crazy 2026 will actually be. Originally, we all thought Shrek 5 was supposed to be released in 2025, but now it's pushed back to December 2026. Also in that same month, Ice Age 6 will be released. However, they're not the only movies coming out in 2026, because we also have Toy Story 5, the Mario movie 2, and Avengers Doomsday. It's a lot. Next, some huge events happening in 2026 is the 2026 World Cup and the Winter Olympics. But that's not it, because there will be no total solar eclipse in 2025, but there will be on August 12th, 2026. However, let's still keep our hopes high for the rest of 2025.
Got to, man.
In the US, I want to, for the last time, tell you the most beautiful space fact I know. If you aimed a telescope at a blank, dark patch of sky just the size of a pinhead held at arm's length and took a picture, this is what you would see. Virtually every single point of light you see is a galaxy filled with hundreds of billions of stars and trillions of planets. If you visited one of the planets hidden away in this image every single second, it would take you 50 million years to visit them all. That is 1.5 quadrillion planets, just as amazing as Earth, potentially capable of hosting an alien civilization hidden in this tiny patch of sky. If this really is the end of TikTok in the US, just go check me out here. It's more fun anyway.
The TikTok ban has...
Do people really expect, man, the TikTok ban to last that long? I can't believe it got so many people, man. They deleted TikTok off their phone. They trying to freaking add it back, bro. I'm seeing TikToks with that's on the iPhone on eBay for like 20K, bro. I don't get how people didn't see through that script.
Has literally had the opposite effect. China and America have never been closer. Duolingo has seen a 216% spike in American users learning Mandarin and a 36% increase in US downloads as everyone flocks to Red Note. And that's impressive because you know how notorious English speakers are for not learning a second language. They've also started comparing their medical bills. And you can imagine how that went down. And after he said that an ambulance in China was $50 and $10 for an appointment and painkillers, bro somehow signs off with Luigi.
At the end, salute to Luigi and wish the best to y'all.
Americans have also been asking if the social credit score is a real thing there, if China actually has a video game time limit ban, and if Temu was just a bunch of children that needed saving. You've got people on this app now pledging their allegiance to communist China. Red Note is literally what the US government feared TikTok would become, and they created this.
She was killed by her own.
Man.
This is what happened to 30-year-old Annie Mae Aquash. Annie Mae was born on March 27, 1945, and was born into the Maquok First Nation. Annie Mae was a part of the American Indian movement, and she was just extremely passionate about human rights and the preservation of tribal communities. She was a mother of two, so she was fighting for her children's safety and future. Throughout her time with the American Indian movement, she was arrested on federal weapons-related charges, but she was quickly released. She was arrested for a second time in November of 1975. However, she was released just 10 days later on November 25th. Due to how quickly she was released, some members of the American Indian movement started to believe that maybe she was working as an informant for the FBI, and that's why she was released so quickly. The last time anyone saw Annie Mae was in the middle of December, and then just 2 months later, on February 24th, 1976, a farmer in South Dakota stumbled upon a frozen, badly decomposed body. His farm was located along the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and this corpse was wearing blue jeans, a maroon jacket, and they were laying with their knees pushed up all the way to their chest. Police were called to the scene, and a coroner determined that this was a woman and that they had been dead for more than 2 months. Due to the condition of the body, it took a little bit over a week for police to identify this corpse as 30-year-old Annie Mae Aquash. Initially, they believed that she died of exposure, that she froze to death. They buried her, and that was that. When her family and friends heard the news about her death, they were just completely shocked. They were trying to figure out what had happened since the last time she was seen in December to when her body was found in February. I mean, what happened in those 2 months? They just had a gut feeling that something more had happened. They requested a second autopsy, they exhumed her body, and this new autopsy revealed that Annie Mae had a gunshot wound to the back of her head. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't the consequence of exposure. Annie Mae was murdered. Her friends and family initially believed that maybe the FBI had done this to silence her. However, it was later revealed that no, the FBI didn't do this. Instead, she was kidnapped, R-worded, and unalived on December 12, 1975 by 3 members of the American Indian movement. Her family just couldn't believe that she was betrayed by those she trusted and by people she believed had her back. As of today, someone has been convicted for the murder of Annie Mae and has been sentenced to life in prison, but were more people involved? Her family believes that maybe higher-level officials at the American Indian movement could have ordered her death because they truly believed that she was an FBI informant. It's been nearly 30 years since Annie Mae, a mother, a sister, a beloved friend, a human being, was killed. To hear more about what happened to Annie Mae, make sure to watch Vow of Silence on Hulu.
110. Ariana Grande reportedly has a longtime stalker named Paige Neiman who tries to impersonate the famous singer. She's been obsessed with Grande since she was 12 years old and has allegedly undergone several plastic surgeries to look like her despite being only 20 years old. When the Titanic sank, the richest passenger on board was business mogul John Jacob Astor IV, who had enough money in his bank account to build 30 Titanics. He ended up giving up his spot in the final lifeboat to instead save the lives of a random woman and her daughter.
Hero.
These were the last photos of Garrett Miller, taken just minutes before a soccer goalpost tipped over and struck him in the head, killing him instantly. In 2013, a family dog named Killian was protecting a baby boy from an abusive babysitter by standing between them and growling at her. This made the boy's parents suspicious of the babysitter, so they hid a recording device under the couch and heard her swearing at the baby while possibly shaking and slapping him. The sitter eventually pleaded guilty to assault and battery of a child and was sentenced to 3 years in prison.
Man's best friend right there, bro.
Toys that have been banned because they're just so dangerous. The first one, I don't know how this was ever legal. It was a yard dart. It had this giant metal spear on the end. You would throw them basically at each other across the yard. These cause lots of damage. This is a little sky flyer. You pulled a string, it went flying up, but the dangerous thing here is it would poke people's eyes out because they came out with so much force. This is an atomic hit. It had uranium in it. People were getting radiation. Crazy. Follow for more.
Uranium?
Things happening in the world right now. After a woman took a DNA test for funsies, police used it to charge her grandmother with murder in a cold case. A woman divorced her husband in order to be with Brad Pitt, only to find out that it was an AI scam. A Philadelphia man who was awarded more than $4 million for an overturned murder conviction ended up pleading guilty in a case where he ended a man's life over $1,200. TSA stopped more than 6,000 weapons at airport security in 2024, and 94% of them were loaded. A Texas woman has set the record for donating more than 2,000 liters of her breast milk. The CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, has let the world know that Stevie Wonder demoed the Apple Vision Pro. A man disrupted a TV interview where a woman was speaking on her feelings of being uncomfortable in public places, and he refused to leave. The city of Bend, Oregon recently ordered its citizens to stop putting googly eyes on statues.
Morbid Facts, Part 511. RFK Jr.'s gravelly speaking voice is caused by a rare neurological condition he developed in his early 40s called spasmodic dysphonia, which causes the muscles that open and close the vocal cords to spasm involuntarily. Here's what he used to sound like before this condition versus after.
And if somebody dumps something into the river that's poison, and it goes into a drinking water intake, and children drink that drinking water, that is child abuse. I think those vaccines we need to have, again, true double-blind placebo-controlled trials on that. There's 25% of Americans.
While the true cause is unknown, people who do a lot of public speaking are far more likely to develop this condition. RFK required a titanium bridge in his vocal folds to be able to speak at all, and receives Botox shots in his vocal cords every 4 months. He says it's painful to hear himself speak and feels sorry for those who have to listen to him.
What happened? What caused it? I guess that's the real question we need to be asking. And public speakers, I guess they're aware of that. Something to think about. Expert level, we know.
Bro,
what happened to all of the crazy inventions we used to come up with? Pedestrian safety catchers, baby cages for those who live in a city, multiple changing rooms, projectile nets for police to catch criminals, the freaking mono wheel, and now we've got this. What the hell? Bro, they were even rethinking childbirth from the ground up. Because let me introduce you to the centrifugal birth table. It is a legit invention that was even awarded a patent by the US government in 1963. It works by strapping a pregnant woman to a table lying flat on her back, and then when labor starts, it begins to spin, like fast. 8 Gs kind of fast. That's a fighter pilot territory. The idea was that the centrifugal force would help assist getting the baby out naturally by supplementing the mother's pushing. And then once the big moment arrives, there's a casual safety net at the base of the table to catch the newborn. There was even a little nifty bell built in that would ring once the baby was caught. You know, just in case the doctor wasn't paying attention. Yeah, actually, maybe on second thought we're better off with this.
Unexplained is a camera that will make you question literally everything. This is a video of the president. Now, at first I didn't see what was happening here, but I slowed it down and zoomed in for you. Something's coming out of his sleeve. It looks like a little snake. What is this? Follow for more.
What was that, man? You know, people in power to be having some strange things goes on around them, but there was definitely something, man, that was coming out of his freaking coat jacket.
2025 just got even crazier, part 9. Firstly, Mark Zuckerberg recently had a meeting with Meta employees and told them that everything I say leaks. It sucks. Well, and you probably ask, how do I know this? Well, the meeting's audio was leaked. Next, a man in the US was just arrested for the death of his own friend who claimed he could dodge bullets while they were intoxicated. Unfortunately, the man could not dodge bullets, and it costed his life. Finally, astronomers just discovered an asteroid named 2024 YR4. The good news is, it has a 99% chance of passing by Earth safely. However, the bad news is, it has a 1.3% chance of hitting Earth in the year 2032. But guys, let's not really worry about this until the year 2032 then.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A man in Venezuela was woken up in the dead of night to a strange haunting whistle. At first, he thought it was his mind playing tricks, but then he heard it again.
You hear that, right?
Dragging footsteps echo through the silence, creeping towards his room.
Closer and closer.
But as whoever's outside arrives at the door, this happens. Something tries to get inside. The man believes he was visited by a zizan, a wandering spirit of death from Venezuelan folklore, known to enter homes with open doors. The further it sounds, the closer he is.
Facts that might ruin your childhood. Most of your favorite animal actors are probably dead. Roald Dahl, the famous author of books like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach, was actually really racist. He was known to be very hateful towards Jewish people. In reality, Pocahontas was 10 and John Smith was 28 years old when they met. And if the movie Finding Nemo was scientifically accurate, then Nemo's dad would have become a female after his mom died and mated with his son.
What? I had no idea a clownfish could even do that. That really just freaking made me question my whole childhood, man. The more you know. That's the White House gate. He said, yeah, let me not do this.
Oh yeah. Look at the dogs.
Got someone on the roof too? Oh yeah.
Guys, this area's gonna be closed. Start going either way. Thank you. Thank you.
Extreme plastic surgery fails.
It went through with that.
Nobody has been able to explain this creepy viral video. For the past 11 years, a man who runs a TikTok account by the name of Dude, My House is Haunted has been pretty confident that there has been some paranormal activity within his home. He claims that ever since his wife passed away, there have been some strange and unusual things going on. So eventually he decided to leave cameras out and record what was happening and post it onto TikTok, which is the footage that you are about to see. In this video you can see a chair seemingly moving on its own. It moves somewhat slowly until it suddenly is violently pulled into the corner by the kitchen. A mysterious shadowy figure can be seen moving behind the chair, and then suddenly out of nowhere the chair is thrown into the kitchen. Now of course we're not really sure what happened in this video, but I'm having a hard time coming up with an explanation for this one.
Could be added. Somebody could have been pulling it. That's the shadow.
Forbidden places that you can never visit. Number 1, Area 51 is a highly classified US Air Force facility that has been associated with UFOs, strange government cover-ups, and potentially testing alien technology. Although no one knows for sure what exactly goes on here, what we do know is that the facility itself is actually quite small. But the restricted area in total is about 90,000 acres of land. Next, Banga Fort is said to be the most haunted place in India. According to legend, there was a beautiful princess named Ratnavati and she lived in this fort. Many men wanted her hand in marriage, one of whom was a black magician named Singya. The princess however rejected Singya and he laid a curse on the fort which haunts it till this day. There have been numerous stories of people who entered the fort at night and were never seen again. As a result, people have been banned from entering the fort at night. Finally, the Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is said to be a secret group of very powerful people. It's alleged that many presidents and business leaders are part of this group. Every year they meet up in the woods and perform strange rituals, such as setting fire to a big owl statue. No one else is allowed to go in or take any photos. But a filmmaker named Ron Johnson once snuck a camera inside, and he presumably caught the world's most powerful men doing all of these strange things. More?
He's a legend, man. That's not the first time we heard a group of powerful people came together to do some weird things. You know, man. You know the other groups out there. One of the most famous. I don't have to say it.
Here are creepy and strange videos that no one is able to explain. The next time you're in your room, you may want to check under your bed or behind your wardrobe. In this video, Andy explains his life story in the video chat, but something very sinister lurks in the background. Okay, pay close attention to what happens in the back. From what it looks like, popping right behind, you can see a figure with some hair. No one is sure what it is, but it might be an evil spirit. In this video, we can see a group of kids that are going to dance next to a field while the cows observe from afar. Although everything seems normal, as the kids walk into frame, a boy with a blue shirt emerges from nowhere. Pay close attention again as they walk in. Where does he come from? No one knows. This video starts out with a girl dancing to a popular song on TikTok. However, something very strange happens behind the scenes. As the girl dances, a strange-looking pale hand emerges. And no one knows where it comes from. Be sure to follow me on Instagram for more.
Beware your surroundings. You never know who's watching.
This man took the night shift because nobody wanted to, but a few nights later, he would find out why. Tim from the TikTok page Tim Saber got a job as a night guard at an undisclosed facility. In one of the corridors was an abandoned unit where most of the paranormal events would occur. One night, Tim left his phone to record the abandoned unit, and what he captured disturbed him. A small attic door begins to shake, as if someone or something is up there.
Tim grabs a ladder to investigate. What he found is horrifying. There's something in the attic that Tim is not noticing.
I'm getting backroom vibes.
Suddenly, an unexpected loud noise startles Tim, but when he looks again, he finally sees it.
I see that. It's like a little statue. I'm gone, bro. Me personally, I'm out. Deuce.
I want to talk about the O'Fallon footage. On the eastern side of Missouri, a tape was recovered from a camera recorder of a missing man in 2002. This photo found in the footage has marked the most chilling mystery to have ever come out of this county. The man is pictured here. His name was Roy Hafer, and he was sort of an amateur investigator. You know, he would go to scenes with recent crimes, places where he could film, and he could sell the footage hopefully to a news station. And on an evening where he ventured to a hotspot where a woman had gone missing just a year prior, he would never make it home from that abandoned house. A police search was conducted by the following morning, as well as a search of the abandoned home and a search of this underpass where a significant amount of blood was recovered, but his body was not. They would also go on to find his camera recorder, where they would find that final footage. This was the face seen in the last frame of that video footage.
Just disappeared off the face of the earth? What happened?
Animals you probably haven't seen as babies.
What do you mean haven't seen as babies?
Hyenas.
I've seen a baby hyena actually. Tell me that's not adorable. Why is there scary music in the background?
Camels.
Right, I've not seen a baby camel. I'll own that. Oh. Look at the eyelashes I take it.
Hedgehogs.
That's Sonic.
Hedgehog. Oh, that looks like something else. Oh, he keeps making me take it back. Sloths. Oh my heart, I will adopt one right now.
Raccoons.
This is mine.
Rocket.
Okay, maybe not a rat. They're a bit reckless. Okay, alright. Birds. Yeah. Right, okay. You might have won me over there.
Skunks.
Oh no. There's not room for two smelly people in my house. And I'm enough. Oh.
I ain't getting that baby skunk, bro. If you guys can pick any animals at Dot Secrets, which one would you get, man? I'm getting a hedgehog, bro. Call him Sonic. We know, man. Expert level. Right here.
The man seen stabbing that security camera was 29-year-old Waldo Mejia. Now, the neighbors who noticed this disturbing footage actually called the police on Waldo at the time and he was arrested. But just a few months later, on January 5th of this year, Waldo attacked a 14-year-old boy who was walking to school. The 14-year-old named Caleb Rios was randomly targeted. There is no prior motive to this attack, and it's still unknown what caused Waldo to snap. But Waldo approached Caleb from behind and began stabbing. And unfortunately, Caleb, the 14-year-old victim, would die from his injuries. Now, this story is disturbing because Waldo had been arrested multiple times in the past, 4 times prior to this murder, including on other stabbing-related charges. Not only had he stabbed his neighbor's Ring video camera, but he had also stabbed somebody in another completely unprovoked attack in New York City. After he was arrested, Waldo was seen screaming expletives at reporters and the authorities, and still there has been no explanation as to why he targeted this random 14-year-old kid on his way to school. If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
This video will prove you have thalassophobia.
You passed this video before. Oh, F1. Okay. This one's kind of getting to me, man. You that high up. It's open sea. If you fall, that's game over, man.
Abandoned house of murdered family.
Going in.
This was once a loving family home but has sat empty since the 1990s when tragedy struck. The family were brutally murdered one night, but the killer was never found. There was talk that on the night in question, there had been an escape from the local psychiatric hospital. Although this was never proven, the locals still believe this was the case. The case was officially closed in the early 2000s.
To this day?
The house now sits, beds made, waiting for the family to come home. There are even plates left in the sink. Locals and prospective buyers do not want the house because of dark figures that are supposedly seen at night.
Don't blame them. Me either. That's bad energy. Bad spirits. You good off that?
This was truly a shocking story, with an even sadder ending.
These are the four most haunted dolls in the world. The first is the Annabelle doll, which inspired the Conjuring movies, which, as you guys know, is one of the most haunted dolls in the world. She's able to not only move herself, but also move objects, and is supposedly inhabited by an extremely demonic being, forcing her to constantly be in a spirit box. Then have Ruby, which in my opinion is one of the most terrifying due to the fact that it's a porcelain doll, which all of our mothers and grandmothers have. Ruby doesn't do anything crazy, but the scariest part is supposedly the ancestor who had this doll prior passed while holding this doll, and now supposedly inhabits it. And it's a porcelain doll, which makes it absolutely terrifying. Then have Letta, who's a 200-year-old doll found underneath a house in Australia, said to make noises in the night, moved by itself, and the owner has a specific account of when he was moving he heard this doll scream while being in the trunk, screaming, "Let me out." I'm good on everything that. Then you have Robert the doll, who in my opinion is probably the most haunted and cursed doll on this list. Said to be so cursed that if you take a picture or look at him without his permission, he can curse you. And this has happened to multiple people who decided to film Robert without his permission. This doll not only moves by itself, but the previous owner has made multiple statements of hearing this doll run inside of the attic. On top of that, the neighbors have seen Robert peeking out the window in the second story, while no one was up there. These dolls, they're scary.
March of 2012,
keep them away from me.
A 5-year-old girl named Maria sat on the floor of her kitchen in a city in northeast Brazil, eating an empada. Just then, the front door opened, and in walked Maria's mother. Right behind her was this young woman. This young woman wants to become her new nanny. In the past, there had been other women who had come by to be her nanny, and it didn't seem to last very long. She told Maria that as soon as they were done, the new nanny would come outside and join her. And after a whole hour had passed by, and still this new nanny had not come outside, a month later, Maria was out in her backyard. She heard a commotion happening inside of her house. And then all of a sudden, these uniformed police officers came charging out the back door towards Maria. It would turn out, Maria's father, George Silvera, was not actually her father, nor was Maria's mother, Isabel Silvera, her actual mother, nor was her aunt, Bruna Silva, actually her aunt. They were instead members of a cult called the Cartel Sect. The literal purpose of the Cartel Sect was to eliminate women they deemed unclean in order to reduce and purify the world's population. They would shoo Maria out into the backyard, and then they would murder the nanny. They would then butcher them and stuff the human meat into their famous empadas and sell them to the people in town. The biggest shock of the story is actually the real identity of little 5-year-old Maria. She was actually the daughter of the very first victim of the Cartel Sect. And ever since, they had just kept Maria and treated her like she was a member of the family. George, Isabel, and Bruna, Maria's fake family, were convicted of 3 murders. As for Maria, according to recent news articles, she was reunited with distant family.
No words for that case, man. That's just mind-blowing. Truly. We seen this, man. We know what this is.
Bizarre facts that'll blow your mind. A bolt of lightning can reach up to 53,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Researchers found by flossing your teeth, you're actually helping to improve your memory. Jack Daniel, the inventor of Jack Daniel's whiskey, died from kicking a safe with his foot. This caused his toe to break, which ended up getting infected, which ultimately led to his death. And finally, Dwayne Johnson holds the world record for the most selfies taken in 3 minutes with 105.
How is he doing that? He was just going like boom, 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 boom.
2024 just got even crazier, part 19. Firstly, meet retired engineer Tom Brown, and after retiring, he wanted to make a difference in the world by saving rare and lost apples from going extinct. And now in 2024, after nearly 25 years of doing this, Tom has saved around 1,200 types of apples from going extinct. You're a legend, Tom. Next, new words were just added to the dictionary, and I'm going to tell you the 3 words that really stuck out to me the most. The first one being bed rotting, which means somebody who spends many hours in a day in their bed with snacks or an electronic device. But it gets more bizarre, because at number 2 is touch grass, which means to participate in real-world activities instead of online ones. Finally, the last word is the ick, which means a sudden feeling of dislike for something or someone. So, how do you guys feel about these new words that were added to the dictionary in 2024?
Touch grass, my
I
guy.
got stalked by a coyote. Keep your eye on the background, and then what happens in 2 seconds.
Here's some coyote advice you never asked for from a man who's never had to deal with them. Anyway, y'all know hazing? No, not the college thing. No. Hazing is putting the fear of God in a wild animal to factory reset its behavior. Here's an example. Basically, you want to give him PTSD so he doesn't come close to anything human. Basically, your goal is to have him racially profiling anything on 2 legs. Jokes aside, coyotes are naturally afraid of us. It's when they lose that fear that the trench puppy becomes a problem. And nothing does that faster than when people feed one, even without realizing it. That goes for any animal. But if you bully them on sight, you help them relearn the price of effing around. It doesn't matter what you say, as long as it's with volume and conviction. Obviously, there are exceptions, like if the coyote's hurt, sick, or with kids, and you want to fall back, or else you might have to cash that check. But you gotta think about how they see us. Coyotes have been getting generationally jumped by wolves. But they also know if they stay close enough, they can get leftovers. Coyotes basically treat us like another wolf, so if one steps up, remind him who you are. Because history has proven what happens when you don't. Tourists in South Africa fed the baboons so much that they started expecting it to the point where they don't fear or respect people. That's how you get carjacked by baboons. Macaques in India have gotten so used to people that the government had used their fear of an even bigger monkey called a langur against them. But since owning a langur is illegal, yup, that man got paid to do that. So unless y'all want to be out here wearing wolf suits, get to hazing.
Who would have thought that the same guy that plays Art the Clown could pull off such an incredible interpretation of the Joker? And I genuinely believe that with the right director and the right script, this guy could actually be the real cinematic Joker. If you haven't seen the 13-minute short Joker's Wild on YouTube, please, I highly recommend it. It's freaking awesome. Because David Howard Thornton, the same exact guy who brought this sadistic clown to the big screen, can also give us one hell of a freaky-ass Joker. Which kind of feels like a more sadistic combination of Cesar Romero and Mark Hamill's version of the Joker, giving us this terrifying cartoonish performance that we haven't really seen in the live-action versions yet. Also, most importantly, the dude can laugh.
He nailed the laugh.
Yeah, that'll do it. Even the way that they designed him in this short, it feels like they ripped him out of the cartoon and put him into this world that just feels so uncanny. But seriously, go watch the full short on YouTube, because I'd really like to see what could be done with this version of the character.
We've already talked about this gigantic Moby Dick animatronic that is under the water and has been there since the 60s, but we're going to talk about it again, because I had a nightmare about it, and I'm making that everyone else's problem. So yes, this gigantic Moby Dick animatronic was put there in, I think, 1967, and it has since sunk and is still under there. This is a photo taken in 2005 of it just completely submerged underwater. People on YouTube actually have videos of them diving under there, and it's just like a carcass of itself, and I don't even want it. You can't see it very clearly because it's so murky. But like the first thing that started going bad on this animatronic was its jaw was so heavy that it couldn't sit all the way up, so its jaw is eventually what brought it down. Like its gigantic heavy jaw just made it sink to the bottom of the lake. Like see, here's it when its jaw was completely down and it's just sitting completely up like that. It used to come up and down. I'm going to show you a video later, but this is it without its jaw, and And yes, this thing is absolutely huge and life-size. Like here's it with a boat of people. Ew. Here's it when it was being transported into the water for the very first time. Look how tiny these people are in comparison to this gigantic, huge whale animatronic. Whales are my worst fear of all time, but a whale animatronic completely submerged underwater. Miss me with that. Like, of all the animatronics that I've ever covered on this channel, this one scares me the absolute most. I cannot imagine falling in that water with that decayed, horrific, huge fake whale. I would cease to exist. Like, it looks so sad too. Look at Pookie. He looks so sad. So watch this video of it moving and let me know how you feel. Also, if TikTok is banned, please follow me on my YouTube account. It's the exact same name that's on here. I'm going to be doing this exact same thing in the form of YouTube Shorts. I really hope that doesn't actually end up happening. But if so, please check me out on my YouTube. I love you all. Watch this.
Like, imagine that coming out of the water. You think it, you know it's an animatronic.
This pedophile who participated in the events of January 6th might get away with his crimes against children. Listen, I know that this is a hot button political issue, but please, no matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, stick with me here. Because this guy might get away with the possession, distribution, and manufacturing of CP or child pornography. So this is David Daniel, a man who was there on January 6th, actively participating in the events of that day. Here's a picture of him from that afternoon. So at one point the FBI was looking into David Daniel based on assault and trespassing charges they wanted to file. And so in November of 2023 they executed a search warrant on his home. And what they found inside of his home is unbelievably disturbing. Obviously investigators took a look at his iPhone and other electronic devices. And on David's electronic devices they discovered videos and photographs of him raping 2 young girls in completely different cases that happened in different counties. One of the minors that had already accused him of this was under the age of 12 years old. Apparently from 2015 to 2019, he had groomed this girl. He had forced her to allow him to take photographs and videos of her when she was nude, and he forced her to shower with him and do other things that I can't talk about here. So on September 20th of last year, he was rearrested on possession of CP and sexual exploitation of a minor charges. However, because of this pardon that he recently received, his legal team could now argue that that search warrant wasn't justified, and this could cause all of these charges to be thrown out of the window. I mean, the public needs to know about this stuff. Here's a guy who's responsible for the rape of 2 minors, one under the age of 12 years old, the other's age is unknown. And this took place over a period of 4+ years, where he groomed these girls, he forced them to pose for nude photographs, he made them shower with him, and he did so many other things to these girls that I can't talk about here. And because of that pardon, because of what that means for this legal case, the lawyers for this guy could literally ask for that search warrant to be nullified. I don't know what the proper terminology is, but they could essentially get all that stuff thrown out of the window because the investigators wouldn't have found the CP on his electronic devices if they hadn't executed that search warrant. So, like I said, no matter what side of the political spectrum you fall on, this should disgust you because there's no way that this guy should be walking free. I have no sympathy and no empathy for child predators, especially a guy like this who's a repeat offender, a serial offender, who victimized children over a period of years. And this is just dangerous stuff. No matter what you think of his actions and the events of that day, nobody should justify what this guy did and argue that his charges should be dropped.
It's a dark world we live in, man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, thank you guys for seeking the truth with me today. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up on this video, comment down below. Also, hit that push notification bell so you always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are going to catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.